This is Ketchum, and I don't think this guy needs an introduction. He's literally the goat of Pokemon. So I wanted to see if I could beat the hardest copy of Pokemon Blue Bronze using Ketchum's champion team. So I've made a video using Ash's Kalos team before, but this time we're using his champion team. And I'm not gonna lie bro, his team is stacked. It has a Dragonite, a Gengar, a Lucario, a Dracovish, a Surfetch'd, and of course Pikachu bro. So can Ash's champion team beat every trainer, gym leader, the Elite Four, and the champion? Let's find out. It has genuinely been forever since I've done this, but I'm still very excited, I'm not gonna lie bro. Anyways, I wake up, give myself a totally normal name this time, and then follow my parents to get my first ever Pokemon. And this is where we run into our first ever problem. There is no starter Pikachu in Pokemon Blue Bronze. So I realistically only had 3 choices left. Either pick Froakie, Charmander, or any other starter and just call it a day. You already know who I went with bro. The GOAT Froakie dog. Upon getting our starter, Jake wants to fight us for some reason. If you don't know who he is, he's basically my rival. You already know my Froakie completely destroyed his Eevee dog. After that I get this suspicious looking brick from my parents. I just hope he won't cause me any harm or something, right? After that I head into the wild and have my first few fights with these Pokemon trainers. And just as I was heading to Chesma Town, Jake interrupts me for some reason, and we meet up with a dude who gave me my starter, Professor Cypress, and he actually tells me my parents got kidnapped. I can't get a break, can I? After being depressed for a while after my parents got kidnapped, we meet with this woman, and this is when I completely forgot about my parents. I was already ready to call her mommy, bro. And after thinking I finally got lucky for once, she turns out to be a freaking thief, bro. And she stole my brick. So now I'm parentless. I just got done like Ken Kaneki. I have 10 Pokédollars and a Froakie to my name. And this chick stole my brick. At least I have Jake, bro. At least I have Jake. After getting myself a nice coffee and releasing my anger on these Gale Forest trainers and watching my Froakie evolve into a Frogadier, after that I finally get to take my revenge on the woman who stole my brick. And let me tell you this, my Froakie did not hold back, okay? So her first Pokemon intimidated me, but it doesn't really matter because my Frogadier one-shot him with Water Pulse. Her second Pokemon is a Pancham and I used 2 Water Pulses to take him down. Last but not least, her ugly ass Zigzagoon and I one-shot him with Water Pulse as well. And just like that, we had our brick back. And Jake just comes around and tells us that we can't trust anybody. Yeah, right, bro. Sure, buddy. And as you can see now, my team only consisted of 1 Frogadier, which is, you know, pretty awkward. And since I was in Gale Forest, I decided to check my Pokedex and look at the chances of me catching Pikachu. 2%. And the odds of him holding a light ball was 5%, which meant the odds of fighting a Pikachu holding a light ball would be 1 out of 1,000, which is genuinely ridiculous, bro. So after grinding for hours, I finally find this yellow hamster, bro. And just like that, we had a new addition to our team. After all that trouble, we finally make it to the beautiful city of Sylvan City, where the first gym is located. Bro, this Pikachu got me acting crazy, bro. So I don't waste any time and decide to head straight to the gym. After that, I complete this obby that almost made me brain dead. At first, I was gonna head into this fight with only Pikachu, but then I realized this game was not joking around. The only way I would be able to beat this gym with only Pikachu is if it was level 100 and somehow had ground type moves. Anyways, his first Pokemon is a Geodude and I decide to use Water Pulse on him, leaving him with 1 HP because he had a Focus Sash in the first gym, by the way. And I left him confused. And after that, he simply killed himself and boom, that was the first Pokemon. Second Pokemon is a Magnemite, which I simply one-shot with Water Pulse. Next Pokemon is a Chinchou, and this is where it gets pretty complicated. So this Chinchou is a water and electric type Pokemon, which meant I couldn't really do anything to him with Frogadier, so I had to switch out to Pikachu and spam Quick Attack on him. After he attacked me for a while, he landed a crit and almost killed my Pikachu, so I used Quick Attack on him again, and I got him below half HP just to realize he had a Citrus Berry and healed up. So I switched back to Frogadier, used Water Pulse on him and did absolutely nothing. And then he used Volt Switch on me and completely destroyed me. But I was still alive, and he decided to switch out to his Pikachu. So I decided to use Water Pulse and somehow one-shot Pikachu. After that, he finally switches out to Chinchou again, and I finally take him down with Water Pulse. And boom, that's the first gym. Low-key, if it wasn't for Frogadier, I would have lost this shit like 10 trillion times, bro. After that, I meet with this guy who gives me running shoes, and I go catch my second Pokemon of this run, Ghastly. After that, we run Jake down for the second time, and finally make it to Brimber City. And apparently some weird stuff is happening there. Team Eclipse, which are the people who kidnapped my parents, were in a volcano trying to summon Groudon for some odd reason. So we go in there, beat them up, and then Groudon was so scared of me that he just went home. And now we could finally challenge the second gym against Sebastian. And I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought I was gonna have trouble with this gym, but it turned out it was the complete opposite. Gengar and Pikachu completely obliterated his team. First Pokemon is a Turkle, Gengar one-shot him with Shadow Ball. Second Pokemon is a Fletchinder, I switch out to my Pikachu, use Thunderbolt on him and one-shot him. Next Pokemon is a Numel, I switch back to my Gengar and one-shot him with Shadow Ball as well. And last but not least is Quilava, which also died one-shot from Shadow Ball. Gengar's the GOAT for real, bro. And just just like that, we got the second gym badge. After that, I beat up some lazy lumberjacks who won't let me pass through, and we finally make it to Laguna Lake. I love this place, I'm not gonna lie, bro. After that, we're forced into an unskippable side quest with Jake, where I have to do double battles with him in Route 8. He wasn't that useless this time, I'm not gonna lie, bro. And right after that, we make it to my second favorite city in the entire game, Rose Cove City. We forgot something, bro. So I decided to head back to Route 8 and decide to check the odds of me catching a Riolu. And I kid you not, the chances of me catching a Riolu was 1%, bro. 1%. Okay, I might sound angry, but I'm not joking. I actually caught him in like 4 minutes. That was super lucky, bro. It could have taken hours. It was finally time for the third gym badge. Okay, so basically Team Eclipse is blocking the entrance to the gym, and I actually find out that they're at the lighthouse bullying this man in order for him to give them the blue orb, which is basically what they needed to summon Kyogre this time, for some reason, bro. This is what being unemployed does to a man, dog. So after beating them senseless, my Riolu evolved into a Lucario, and after that they still managed to summon Kyogre, just for him to blow him up into the air on some Dragon Ball shit, bro. After that we talk with the old guy, and we realize that he has a daughter called Tess, and as you can see, Jake is really down bad for her. After that I head straight to the third gym, and complete this obby right here, or puzzle, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm not gonna lie, this shit is completely ingrained into my mind, bro. I cannot forget how to do this puzzle. It was now finally time for the third gym against Quentin. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not know what to expect from this gym. First Pokemon I sent out is a Pelipper, I sent out my Pikachu, and I genuinely one-shot him with Thunderbolt. Next Pokemon I sends out is a Tentacruel, and I switch out to my Gengar, and he's called Tentacruel for a reason, bro. This dude is insufferable. I hit him with one Shadow Ball, and this guy heals up with a Rain Dish and his Black Sludge. So the only thing I could do left is spam Shadow Ball on him until he dies, bro. And after one last Shadow Ball, Tentacruel is down. Next Pokemon he has is a Bibarel. I switch out to my Pikachu and completely one-shot him with Thunderbolt. Next Pokemon he switches out to is a Ludicolo, and I switch out to my Lucario just to sacrifice him to heal Gengar in order for me to use Sludge Bomb on him. And boom, one shot. Last but not least, his Swampert. I was genuinely too tired to actually fight this guy, so I genuinely just used Destiny Bond, and I went down and I took him down with me. And just like that, that was the third gym badge. After that, we meet with Cypress, which was looking more and more suspicious. After that, I went ahead and checked the odds for me to catch a Dratini, and that shit genuinely said 2%. What the hell is up with these odds, dog? But just like Lucario, I'm not kidding, this genuinely took like 5 minutes, but I'm so grateful. After that, we meet with this cute Absol, but Jake and Tess come scared off with their faces. After that, I make my way through Kragenos Mines, and it was somehow snowing inside the mines. I don't know how that is supposed to happen, but whatever. After finally getting out to this godforsaken cave, we meet with Jake, Tess, and his funny looking pilot, which was about to take us to Anthean City, which is basically like the biggest city in the game or whatever. And we didn't go in a plane or something normal, no, we went in a giant boat, flying boat. And then me, Tess, and Jake meet up with this guy named Gerald, and he's basically like a conspiracy theorist, but he's actually right. It doesn't really matter. I went ahead and got myself a hoverboard just to roam around faster, and I also watched my Dratini evolve into a Dragonair. Upon doing all of these things, we finally get to fight Stefan for the 4th gym badge. And I was just hoping that Gengar would carry me through this fight as well, because if he didn't, this run was over. Yes, Pikachu is in fact super effective against flying type Pokemon, but the only problem is Pikachu is kind of a glass cannon, so if he gets hit one time, he dies, straight up. And his Pokemon actually have double typings, which widens the range of their attacks. First Pokemon he sends out is an Archeops, and I send out my Gengar, and I one-shot him with Shadow Ball. Next up is Gliscor, and I made the mistake of switching to Pikachu. Like I said, Pikachu is a glass cannon, and I also forgot that Gliscor was also a ground type, so my electric moves did not affect this guy. So I used extreme speed on him and landed a crit, but ended up getting one-shot by Earthquake. But don't worry, Gengar came around and avenged Pikachu. Next Pokemon he has is a Talonflame, and he almost kills me with Flare Blitz, but Gengar manages to take him down with Shadow Ball. His next Pokemon is a Noctowl, and just like the third gym, I decided to switch out to my Lucario, sacrifice him in order to heal Gengar. Might sound a bit cruel, but it had to be done, bro. Gengar came around and one-shot him with Shadow Ball. Next up is Hawlucha, which I completely obliterated with Dazzling Gleam. Last but not least is Swallow, and I genuinely used Destiny Bond, and I took him down with me. And just like that, the 4th gym badge was ours. As soon as we head out of the 4th gym, we see this huge Team Eclipse spaceship just flying by. Oh yeah, Jake and literally ran away into the sewers by himself. Bro thinks he's the main character or something. So I'm basically forced into these double battles with Tess this time. And right after I was done with these battles, my Dragonair evolved into a Dragonite. So after getting out of the sewers, me and Tess head to the spaceship we saw earlier, just to find out that Jake got kidnapped by Team Eclipse. And to nobody's surprise, Professor Cypress is actually Team Eclipse's leader. Okay, so basically Tess forces us to fight Professor Cypress, and the Absol we saw earlier decides to help us in this fight. I'm 100% sure they buffed Absol, bro, because she actually moved first this time. His next Pokemon's name I'm not even gonna try and pronounce. Anyways, Pikachu one-shot him. His next Pokemon is Typhlosion, and I used Dragonite and used Earthquake on him and one-shot him. Next up is the worst Pokemon of all time, Meganium, and I one-shot him with Sludge Bomb using Gengar. And I'm not gonna lie, this fight was easier than I anticipated. Like, just look at this Blastoise. Boom, Thunderbolt, and one-shot him, just like that, easily. And last but not least, Charizard, which I absolutely one-shot with Thunderbolt as well. After we beat Cypress, he just ran away with Jake. And to be honest, I don't really care. Just for Dialga and Pocket just to come out of thin air, just to teleport us back in time so we can fight the dude who's gonna explode the entire city. So after that, we basically saved the world. Why did nobody tell me that Pikachu could fly, bro? Like, I genuinely don't even want to start imagining how that would look like, bro. So I went and got myself a Lucario from the gem shop for 100k Poké dollars, and I used my Sky Train Pass to head to the desert. After making it to Iridia City, we immediately head to Old Iridia after hearing that the gym leader was getting bullied by Team Eclipse. So we beat Team Eclipse, and now we can finally battle the 5th gym. Now I'm not gonna lie, this genuinely jump scared me. But why is this shit a double battle? Why is it a 2v2, bro? Like, I genuinely don't get it. Okay, so we sent out Excadrill and Hippowdon, and I sent out my Gengar and my Dragonite. And as you would expect, Gengar didn't deal an insane amount of damage, okay? But Dragonite managed to take down Excadrill with Earthquake thanks to his weakness to ground moves. After that, he sent out Gastrodon next, and I used the opportunity to heal Gengar. Then I used Earthquake again, and Hippowdon dies. And I also deal a decent amount of damage on Gastrodon. Okay, so I managed to take down Gastrodon, but my Dragonite also dies from my Sponge. Then I sent out Pikachu, and I used Shadow Ball on Rhydon, and Grass Knot on Mamoswine, and I take them both out. And last but not least, his Garchomp. So he actually Mega Evolves it, but you already know what was gonna happen, bro. I immediately Gigantamax Gengar, and Mega Evolve Lucario just for the aura, and used Bullet Punch on him, and there was the 5th gym. Now, if I'm being honest, it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, but I really don't like these double battles, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Anyways, after that, nothing really happens to the plot, so we just head to Forma City, do the gyms puzzle, and we challenge the 6th gym. Now, I'm not gonna lie, bro, I genuinely knew this was gonna be pretty easy just because I had Gengar, bro. But to be honest, this is when I realized that the gyms in this game completely changed from last time, bro. Not only were the gym fights 2v2 now, but the gym leaders' teams actually changed, bro. It took me a while to get used to it, but I really prefer the OG gym battles better. Alright, so his first 2 Pokemon are Sceptile and Whimsicott. I Mega Evolve Lucario and use Bullet Punch on Whimsicott. And then Sceptile uses Double Kick on me and genuinely leaves me on 2 HP, bro. And then I use Sludge Bomb on him with Gengar and one-shot him. Next Pokemon he sends out is a Scovillain. So I heal Lucario, and he actually decides to Mega Evolve his Scovillain, and then he just one-shots my Lucario. But then I use Sludge Bomb on him and kill him. Next Pokemon he sends out is a Lilligant, and I know she has a Focus Sash, so I use Sludge Bomb on her, leave her on 1 HP, and then I heal my Gengar and use Extreme Speed on Lilligant with my Dragonite, and she's out of the way. Unfortunately, Whimsicott takes out my Dragonite with Dazzling Gleam, but then Gengar just takes her out. His last 2 Pokemon were a Torterra and a Jumpluff. I sent out my Pikachu, and he ends up just getting one-shot, so I had to entirely rely on Gengar for this gym. Boom, just like that, Jumpluff is gone, and with 2 Shadow Balls, Torterra is gone too. This took a while, I'm not gonna lie, bro, but at least now we have the 6th gym. So after that, we head into yet another cave where this time we find Tess and 3 Team Eclipse members. As always, I beat their ass up, but this time, something's different. We realize that one of them is actually Jake. But even with Team Eclipse's resources, every Pokemon he could have dreamed of, he still beat him, bro. Just so you know that he's a fraud. After those weird shenanigans, we find Latios and Latias just flying around. We cross a few bridges, walk across a frozen lake, and finally make it to my favorite city in the entire game, Frostville City. Now this is arguably also one of my favorite gyms. I just hope it isn't a 2v2 battle, because if it is, it's not gonna be my favorite anymore, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, finally time for the 7th gym. Guess what, bro? This gym has also become a 2v2 battle for some odd reason. And this actually made it 10 times more difficult to deal with it, I'm not gonna lie. His first 2 Pokemon were Meowscarada and an Incineroar. First thing I actually do is sacrifice Gengar. I use Destiny Bond and I let Meowscarada use knockoff on me and take her down with me. Next thing I do is I use Close Combat on Incineroar, so we basically got 2 Pokemon down. So he sends out Absol and Tyranitar, and I send out my Pikachu alongside my Lucario. And when I said every single one of his Pokemon had Intimidate, I was not joking at all. After that, I Dynamax my Lucario. For some reason, I completely forgot why I did that. Then he Mega Evolves his Absol, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks very cool, bro. Tyranitar uses knockoff on Pikachu, but but fortunately I had a focus sash. And then I was about to heal my Gengar, but I just used Max Knuckle again on Tyranitar and used Pikachu's turn to heal Gengar. Just like that, Tyranitar was gone and my Gengar was max health. And like the dumbass I am, I used Max Knuckle on Absol just to realize it doesn't even affect it. And Pikachu was gone as well, but my Gengar was max health, so I switched out to Gengar. After that, Absol uses Shadow Claw on my Lucario and takes it down, and I do a heck ton of damage on both Absol and Samurott using Dazzling Gleam with Gengar. And I actually used Extreme Speed on Absol just to realize it doesn't even affect it, bro. And my Gengar died too. So I was about to give up and I used Earthquake on Samurott and Absol, but the second I did that, he switched out to Drapion, which meant my Earthquake was gonna be super effective against him. Just like that, Absol is gone, and I had a revive in hand, and I just had to choose who to revive. But I ended up not reviving anybody, and just healing Dragonite again and again. After healing 1,000 times, I used Extreme Speed on Drapion and take it out, and then it was just a 1v1 between me and Samurott. Then I used Earthquake on him, brought him down to 1 HP, used Extreme Speed, and boom, the 7th gym badge. Now I'm not gonna lie, bro, this took a long time to get used to, a long time to like get the tactics right, but I ended up just winning awkwardly too. It was not smooth at all, but I don't really care. Okay, so as you can see, Tess is blocking the road to the next area for some reason, and she won't let us pass through unless we fight her. Oh, and I also forgot to mention she has a team full of dragons. Alright, so her first Pokemon is a Radingo, it gets taken down by my Dragonite. Her second mon is a Haxorus, and I Mega Evolve my Lucario and one-shot him. Her next mon is Hydreigon, he gets one-shot too by Lucario. Flygon suffers the same fate as the two before. Then I use Close Combat on her Garchomp, but he survives with 1 HP and kills Lucario with Earthquake. So I sent out Dragonite to finish the job, and then her last Pokemon is a Mega Salamence, which gets taken down by Gengar. This fight was pretty easy, I'm not gonna lie. After snowboarding for a little while, we finally make it to Port Deca where we meet Tess and Champion Brad. And if you didn't know, this is the name of the champion we have to beat in the end. Now, even though we just beat the 7th gym, I still had only 4 Pokemon on my team. And after receiving HM Surf from Champion Brad, I headed to Laguna Lake, and then I surfed across the lake, and then I started grinding these raid dens for Dracovish. Let me tell you this, bro, this took a long time. A very long time, in fact. But we finally made it, and just like that, we had our 5th Pokemon. And since we were already in Port Deca, I decided to grab myself a ticket, and then I went to this ship, which was gonna take me to the Lost Islands. And the only reason I came here was to find Farfetch'd. It wasn't that hard to find, I'm not gonna lie. This ain't no Lucario or Pikachu or whatever. And just like that, we had a full team. Literally 15 minutes after, my Farfetch'd evolves into a Surfetch'd. After that, I make it to Deca Beach where I find Tess, and she tells me she's gonna use this boat to head to Crescent Island. Oh, and Jake's also aura farming for some reason. We were finally approaching the end game, and I'm not gonna lie, this is when I start to get a little bit nervous. Anyways, I use Surf and I skip a few of these trainers, and finally make it to Crescent Island. After that, I head to a bar. Hey bro, don't judge, bro. Don't judge. Everything's been stressful. I'm just gonna have a drink. Oh, where does this take me, bro? Okay, that was easier than I thought. After that, I navigate through Team Eclipse's base, skip not 1, not 2, but 3 trainers. I beat up this guy, and I click on this big green button to open up the whole base. After that, I find out that Tess also got kidnapped. But why are they so incompetent, bro? Tess has a team full of dragons, and she loses to Team Eclipse. Like, how is that even logical, bro? And then I come in, beat Jacob for like the 10th time. And I'm not gonna lie, this feels pretty weird being here alone. Oh, and right after we beat Jake, he said that everything's going down at Route 18. So I head to Route 18 and use my trainer skipping skills. And when I say everybody was there, bro. Just listen. Cypress was there. The dude who summoned the Groudon was there. The dude who summoned Kyogre was there. The dude who was about to blow up Amphion City was there. And Jake was there. Tess was there, and my parents were there. What the hell, bro? What is happening? Okay, so basically what happens is Cypress summons Hoopa and wants us to fight him. Okay, so the animations are kind of broken here, but what's supposed to happen is Jake throws Cypress in the portal. Oh, so Jake wasn't actually a bad guy. But it took him this late to tell us, bro. A crate coincidentally was going to hit Tess, but Jake jumps in the way and the crate takes him into the portal. Now, as you can see, everybody already forgot about him. Now it's finally time for the final gym. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this gym isn't one of my favorites, and the only reason is the puzzle before it. It's pretty ass, and then you can't even save after it. But it's alright, bro. We only had 1 try to do this. This is again a double battle, and I don't really care at this point, bro. If anything, it's made it a little bit more fun. Okay, so her first 2 Pokemon are a Typhlosion and a Mismagius, so I sent out Gengar and Dracovish. So I Gigantamax my Gengar and use G-Max Terra on Typhlosion, and I use Crunch with my Dracovish on Mismagius. Now they're both low, but Mismagius uses Shadow Ball on my Gengar and takes it down. So I send out my Dragonite, use Crunch on Mismagius and take him down, and then I take down Typhlosion with Earthquake. Right next to her are a Mimikyu and an Annihilate, so I use Earthquake with Dragonite and use Dracovish's turn to revive Gengar. Unfortunately, Mimikyu takes Dracovish down with Play Rough, and my Dragonite takes hella damage from Stone Edge. Unfortunately, Dragonite dies, so I switch out to Lucario, Mega Evolve him, and then I use Shadow Ball on Mimikyu and take him down, and I use Meteor Mash on Annihilate and take him down too. And then his last two Pokemon are a Houndstone and a Mega Gengar. So I showed her that my Gengar was superior, and then I took down Houndstone with Lucario. And there it was, the 8th gym, bro. We are done with every single gym. After that, I wasted no time and head straight to Royal League. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, I started to get a little nervous here. My cortisol was high as hell, dog. But I had no choice, bro. I had to push forward. After navigating through the entire victory road, we finally make it to the league center. This is basically the last checkpoint before the Elite Four and the champion. So the first Elite Four I actually decided to battle was the fighting type Elite Four. His arena looks pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Anyways, his first Pokemon is a Chestnut, and I sent out Lucario and Mega Evolve him, and then he used Swords Dance 2 times. And then I one-shot Chestnut with Close Combat. Iron Valiant gets one-shot by Bullet Punch. He sends out his Koraidon and sent out my Gengar and one-shot him with Dazzling Gleam. He also sends out Urshifu, which gets one-shot too by Dazzling Gleam. Now as you can see, this fight was actually going pretty smooth. His next Pokemon is a Mega Gallade, and I used Dazzling Gleam on him, but don't manage to kill him, and he unfortunately killed my Gengar. And then he switched it up and sent out Sneasler, and I used Earthquake with Dragonite to take him out. And then he switched back to Gallade, and with only one extreme speed, we beat the first Elite Four. Now I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty content with the way things were going right now. The second Elite Four I decided to go with was the Steel type Elite Four. His first Pokemon was a Klefki, and I set out my Dragonite, and I managed to set up Dragon Dance a bunch of times. And then I one-shot Klefki, one-shot Goldingo, one-shot Tinkaton, and then he sends out King Gambit. I set out my Lucario, Mega Evolve him, and one-shot him with only one close combat. Then his next Pokemon is a Necrozma. I almost take it out with close combat, but my Lucario dies. So I set out my Gengar, use Shadow Ball and take it out. And his last Pokemon is a Scizor that he Mega Evolves. And I use Earthquake on him with Dragonite, but I don't really manage to kill him. So then I use Dracovish and use Crunch just to finish him off. What am I saying, dog? And boom, just like that. Second Elite Four. Now for the third Elite Four. Now I'm not gonna lie, bro. This fight was in fact a joke, bro. For Lucario at least. His first Pokemon is a Grimmsnarl, and I send out my Lucario and Mega Evolve him, and one-shot his dumbass with Meteor Mash. Next Pokemon he has is a Delphox. She gets brutally one-shot with Meteor Mash as well. Next Pokemon he has is a Fluttermane, and I one-shot it with Bullet Punch. Next up is his Gardevoir, which he actually Mega Evolves just to get one-shot by Lucario again. Now his next mon was Xerneas, and I was actually shaking in my boots. Nah, I'm kidding, I just one-shot him easily. And last but not least is a Azumarill, which gets taken down by Bullet Punch as well. Now I'm not gonna lie, when I finished this fight I wasn't really happy just because of what I knew was coming. And when I say that, I'm not talking about the champion, I'm talking about the final Elite Four. Holy shit, when I tell you this fight, it was horrendous. So I started filming this clip pretty late, but basically what happened is my Lucario took out his Ninetales, and my Pikachu took out his Iron Bundle with Thunderbolt. Now his next two are Xianpao and Darmanitan. Now yes, I deal quite a lot of damage on Xianpao, but my Lucario actually dies and my Pikachu is now on 1 HP. But then I switch out to Dragonite to use Extreme Speed and take out Xianpao. And my Pikachu unfortunately dies as well. Now this is the worst Pokemon in the entire run, Calyrex. This bitch can actually use Trick Room, and as you can see, he actually uses Z moves with his Calyrex. But then I take her down to 1 HP, use Extreme Speed on her, and boom, she's gone. And Darmanitan was 1 HP too, and he goes down as well. Last Pokemon he has is a Mega Abomasnow, and then I use Sludge Bomb on him, deal a fat ass chunk of damage to him, and Surf Edge comes around and finishes him off. Bro, I cannot say that, bro. Don't say that. And that was the Elite Four, I guess. Now it was finally time to battle Champion Brad. I'm not gonna lie, I remember his fight being pretty bad, but not as bad as the Ice type Elite Four, so I knew how this was gonna turn out. First mon is a Grimmsnarl, and as always, I Mega Evolve my Lucario, and I use Swords Dance once, and use Meteor Mash. But he switches out to his Calyrex, but it doesn't really matter because she gets one-shot anyways. Next mon is a Gouging Fire, and I one-shot it with Close Combat. Okay, so his next Pokemon is Magearna, and she kept on using Draining Kiss and healing up, but I used Earthquake on her and took her down. Next Pokemon is a Salamence, and if I'm not wrong, he's actually gonna Mega Evolve it. But I switch out to my Dracovish, and I use Ice Fang on him and deal a fuck ton of damage. But then he actually runs away and switches out to King Gambit, and I had to sacrifice Dracovish and let him take the Z-Power move. After that, I switch out to Lucario, use Close Combat on his King Gambit to take it down. Next up is Salamence again. I switch out to my Surfetch and use First Impression and take him down pretty easily. Now last but not least, we did a full circle and came back to Grimmsnarl. And one last Meteor Mash. And just like that, we beat the game and became champions. If you didn't know, there's actually a fight after this one, which is called the Lando fight, but I'm not gonna fight him for obvious reasons. I really don't understand why they put this fight in here, I'm not gonna lie, bro. Like, if we beat the champion, we're champions, right? And I was not about to fight a guy with the team of a 6-year-old. He has 6 of the strongest legendaries in the game, and they're all shiny, they're all IV and EV trained, and trust me, I was not about to win, bro. I was not about to win, so I didn't even ridicule myself, and just like that, we're finally champions. Now, it was finally time to answer the question, can Ash Ketchum beat the game and become champion? Hell yeah, he can, bro. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I did doubt him a bit, but it turned out pretty well. I'm satisfied, bro. Thank you for watching. watching if you made it this far. If you didn't, just thank you anyway, bro. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. Oh, and also, if you had any recommendations or video ideas, make sure to comment them down below. I'm gonna try to read and respond to every single comment. Anyways, this is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and yeah, see you all in the next video. Peace.